as soon as I see a computer as outside of myself, which is very natural to do so because these are such hardware-focused devices, they're so binary in a way that it feels like I, Matthew Garrett, is using a MacBook, or I am using an iPhone. I use ChatGPT outside of myself. But when technology is seen and when it's developed in a way that is in harmony with your being as a electromagnetic being, then the self, which is seen as everything and anything, even artificial intelligence, is seen not as artificial, it's just a geometry within your being that you can utilize. It's you. It's just consciousness flowing in a certain way that gives you access to certain fields. So the laptop, for example, yes, it's within myself, but it's not designed with that wisdom. So when technology is designed in a way that is like breathing with your environment and utilizing the extensions of yourself, like this finger, we could say is more me, you would think, than a phone, or the technologies that will come which are far more organic and breathable and part of your field. But really everything is your limb. Like we tend to think of this body as me, right? And the early insights into non-duality and no self and Brahman, these are so crucial as a launchpad. They're not the end. They give the philosophy, really, the true seeing. It's not even a philosophy. It's really the clarity of metaphysical understanding to be able to actually see the new technologies. My area of interest, my passion really is what is optimal for a race of beings, though? Where is the line between disowning the natural abilities but utilizing technology in a way that enhances the experience with the values of sovereignty, love, really intelligence, a new sentience beyond the older forms of love and in that earlier perspective. So there you go. There's the statement. We value sovereignty, expansion, really intimacy with your being, expanded states of consciousness, new discoveries. There's our tagline. Everything that drips off that comes from that. The branches off that will be seeded through the divine intention for that to be experienced. So obviously we look at previous epochs, previous civilizations, even root races, and we learn from that. Where in Atlantis did we go overboard into technology? Where did we start to see from separation, greed, utilizing information as storage? I've brought this up a few times. The difference between storage and signal. Storage is really belonging to binary computing. You store information, you learn from it, you regurgitate. It's really like a past-facing mechanism of technology. This is where the crystal comes in as well. A technology that does not need to store information but has a potent access signal to the field. From seeing intelligence as a library to seeing intelligence as a radio frequency, a radio that tunes. Because then you have access to all things. Why limit oneself? Why limit artificial intelligence to being a library that learns based off, a bit like the mind? It's literally a reflection of the mind. Our tools are always reflections of the consciousness that creates it. Why limit technology to that? Well, the creators, the innovators, look at the people in Silicon Valley at the moment. There are some expanding the consciousness, there's some going quantum, there's some going outside of that. But at the moment, AI, as a bridge technology really, is being created off the reflection of the binary mind to store information and then to regurgitate it. But that's not even how you work. You're not even storing information and using that. You know what you need to know when you need to know it because you are a quantum computer. We can remove the computer aspect and just see yourself as a quantum being that is tuning to the field. So the technology can only come through beings and a collective consciousness that inhabits and embodies the frequency that can even understand that and then utilize that. The same goes for craft, like I was speaking. The same goes for computers, technology. the key thing is not seeing technology outside of yourself. And I come back to this. We learn from the past races, we learn from the past root races, we learn from collectives that were imbalanced. So what have we learned? Well, technology is not outside yourself. You yourself are the source of all creation. When you tune to the field, you are tuning to yourself. You're not tuning to something outside of yourself that's gifting you information. You in incarnation is really a fractal. In this holographic universe of just light and sound, electromagnetism, that's all we're talking about here. God is electromagnetism. In all its different forms, in this universe anywhere where dualism is experienced in this realm, the seeming separation of masculine and feminine, the seeming separation of light and sound, of source and incarnation. That's what we're dealing with. And when you start to see that more, the technology we use will reflect that and will enhance the non-dual perspective. It won't disregard it, where you disown your abilities. Now, why is it significant? Why are we interested? Why am I interested in translocation, transmigration? What can seem to be magic, what can seem to be even like performative things. But it's not for show. You know what happens when magic is used for just showmanship. It's coming from lack. It's coming from the need to perform, lacking of love. Maybe if I have validation, blah, blah, blah. If you have enough stability in your soul, you know that's not nourishing eventually. You know that love is found within. Then you can start to see that these natural abilities in consciousness of translocation, let's define that, the ability to shift yourself at will, because no point is at any distance from another. To rematerialize the body anywhere in that plane is a natural ability. We just do it very incrementally and we've forgotten that ability. Why is that significant if it's not for showmanship? Well, it unbinds you from collective gravity of limitation beliefs, but it also unhooks you from the recycling grid of always being in one plane. Now, when you have the maturity and the spiritual insight to be able to move anywhere, it really opens the door to the other aspects of self within creation to come in, which is you, because you are able to free yourself from limitation, which is really just letting it be seen as nothing. And a race of beings that is able to do that completely changes their perspective on creation, on reality, on transport, on themselves as infinite beings. Now, transmigration, to me, the definition is really cross-plane materialization. So as you leave the veil of this earthly plane, it's the translocation really cross-realm, cross-dimensional frequency. Now that itself is even more interesting here, because when you open those gates, you open the heavens to this realm. Why is that excitement for this topic here? Always ask yourself, why is that topic here exciting? It's not mundane, it's not trivial, it's something your being is trying to shake you awake into at the right timing. Everything is timed to perfection, but there is still learning to be done. We have, like I say, so many potentials for this next checkpoint, chapter. I really want you to come back to this phrase I was speaking on there. Humanity is a bow in which many arrows are set to fly. Many arrows. There are some which will descend deeper into the veil. There are some that will go into just techno obsession. There are some which will completely disown their human capacities. And then the ones that we are here is like a kind of refinement of delicacy, of integrating wisdom, intelligence, and infinite capacities, the valuing of beauty, art, new worlds, new experiences, going out to the far reaches of creation and trying something new. All I have is pieces of the puzzle right now. I have tiny little pieces. And the pieces that you will have also will be your excitement. And when you follow that excitement and you persevere with it, don't think that your excitement will always just be total easy, total flow. Sometimes the challenges that arise from you following that will be your path, will be your extraction of the nourishment and the richness of what you're supposed to know, the answers to the questions you're supposed to have. It's like what I was speaking about earlier. I don't know if this is still part of the video, but the crystal is a translator of the field from phase through lattice to form. Just like you are able to translate intuition through your quantum computer as yourself, from intuition and abstraction down into intelligible, comprehensive understanding just from tuning to it. You can tune to it easily. You just have to ask the question. And it's not trivial to be excited about those things because they're part of what you know to be natural. You're very handicapped right now. We're all handicapped. If we knew how handicapped we were, we remembered it, we would be looking at these things a bit more strongly, but they're going to be coming back more and more potently. All right, I gotta go.